the technology track. So my name is Kim. I am a software engineer and tech coach. I currently work for Tech Returners, but I do a lot of volunteering in the community as well. Oh yeah, my name. Just in case you don't know how to spell Kim. So in today's talk, I'll be talking about your guide to mentoring in tech and demystifying the misconceptions that you have that you need to be like a co-founder or a CTO to be able to mentor others in technology. So I wanted to open with a quote by Oprah Winfrey. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope in yourself. Now, when I went to college not too far down the road, actually. I don't know if you know Loretto College in Moss Side. Yep. So, and used to chill out, in the McDonald's. And I was at a really difficult point in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I didn't even want to apply to university at all because my parents came 30 years ago to the UK as refugees. And so I always felt I had to prove my self-worth. And so I sat down, and my mentor at the time, Dr. Lyons, he was absolutely fantastic. He really brought me up and told me that, Kim, you can apply to university. You can do this. Just because you haven't got that background doesn't mean that you're not able to go to university. I thought, no, I can't do this. And he put the hope back in me. So I want you to think of the first step. Has there been anyone in your life that has inspired you to be the person that you are today? Think back to your childhood. Maybe you've gone through some difficult times. Has someone been there to be your rock? Has someone been there to listen to you? And this is mentorship. Mentorship is available for anyone from any walks of life, whether you are a seasoned developer or whether you are just stepping into your first steps in technology. Mentorship is very important to be able to help you grow and also give the sort of confidence to other people as well. So when people talk to me about mentorship, they always say, oh, but Kim, I'm not a co-founder. I'm not a CTO. I can't possibly mentor people. And a lot of mentors feel very scared to take that step to be like, hey, I am qualified to mentor you. So the first step is you don't need qualifications to become a mentor. Anyone can start mentoring straight away. And all I wanted to say is the impact that you have on other people's lives with mentorship will also impact you positively as well. We've all been there, haven't we? We've been to events, we've been to speed networking, we've been to speed mentorship events, and we always question, what if no one wants to be my mentee? And I've been there before. I signed up to an event in London. I walked into the room similar to this, and I would stand in the corner of the room and be like, okay, there's a little corner over there, some people there, there's the sandwiches. Oh, I'll just pretend to get the sandwiches. Okay, I think I can. Oh, hi, my name's Kim. I'm just gonna go and sit in the toilet cubicle and, and then go out again. So, what if no one wants to be your mentee? Now, that's not the point. The point is exposure. You are exposing yourself to as many people as possible and learning from others. That your objective shouldn't be to get the mentee. You're not going to kidnap them and say, you're my mentee for life. But you're trying to just connect with people, learn from people. So how do you find your mentee? That's quite ironic, actually. Finding a mentee. Maybe some of you might be my mentees in the future. You can go to some organized events if you feel like you want to step into mentorship and you don't know where to start. So one of the best ways to start is speed mentoring. And it's where you cycle through different people in the room and you get matched for 30 seconds. And then you have to introduce yourself and what you do and also a key theme that you want to talk about. It's like speed dating. I'm all for mentorship in terms of speed networking because I'm there like, hi, I'm Kim. Oh, time's over now. Like, gotta go along. Another way you can mentor someone or find your mentee is through mentor-mentee matching events. So a fantastic one is called STEMETS. So STEMETS is a not-for-profit organisation that focuses on getting more women and underrepresented groups into STEM careers, so please do check them out. You can go to events such as CoBar. So CoBar is a charity that offers free workshops for those getting into technology. So if you are starting your career in tech and you're trying to look for your mentor, go and pair up, go and say hello, and it's free food at those events. That's the reason why you all come here. You all got your swags, your bags. And then group mentoring. So if you feel like you don't want that one-to-one sort of relationship straight away, you can go and do some group mentoring and just hang out. So yeah. You can also do some mentorship independently. So you can launch your website, you can build your personal brand on LinkedIn and Twitter, and you'll be surprised that people do DM you. So a couple of years ago, when I was changing from my previous career into technology, I got so many DMs, and I would literally open up my LinkedIn and go, oh, no, another person asked him, how did you get into technology? What did you do to get into technology? What coding languages should I learn? And I literally just panicked and thought, oh, I'm not qualified to tell you. You can go to this CTO who's more qualified than I am. And there was one day where I thought, okay, I should actually answer some of these questions rather than just run away from them. And I kept answering them. And all of a sudden, day by day, I started to feel very good, very empowered, because I felt like I've answered someone's question and they've come back to me a few years later and they say, hey, Kim, you really inspired me to change into a career in technology. And here I am now organising this event at CoBar, and I'm like, wow, I've actually been that catalyst. Mentorship in the workplace as well is very important. So buddying schemes and sort of pair programming activities really get people to feel comfortable in their role. Now, when I'm mentoring my mentees, I mentor around 12 people at the moment on a monthly basis. I meet up with them on a one-to-one, and it's really sad to hear that a lot of my mentees don't have that psychological safety at work. They feel like they don't want to ask questions, they don't know how to ask questions, they feel like they don't know anything about technology, they feel a bit impostery. And I'm there listening to all these things, and I'm thinking, oh, they really should have some buddying processes in the workplace. So if you are an employer here today, I really encourage you to think about the things that you have in place to encourage those starting their career in technology and even growing in their career to feel more comfortable with asking questions or with coding concepts. So I've rambled on enough now. I know it is post-lunch, so we have to get out of post-lunch slump, but you're going to spend 5 minutes doing a speed mentoring activity. So I want you to turn to the person next to you or the person in front of you. Everyone's like, oh no, I want you to turn to the person next to you, and you've got 5 minutes to introduce yourself for 30 seconds. And then I want you to pick one theme that you want some advice on, and I want you to get connected, and then at the end, your objective is to get connected and exchange contacts. So I'll give you 5 minutes for that. So turn to the person next to you, connect. So how did everyone feel about that? It went by quickly, right? Yeah, so you have to be really focused on getting that connection. So my top tip is pick one theme, because at least you've got something to talk about. Otherwise, you can just divert into a conversation, which you probably did anyway. So I'm going to talk about how I went from being a mentee to a mentor. And when I first started my mentorship journey in technology, I thought that every single person wanted to just learn to code. All they wanted was someone to tell them, hey, how do I code this in Python? How do I code this in C#? And I was completely wrong. Because a lot of the mentees that come to me, they always say, hey, I'm lacking in confidence. I'm really lacking to sort of boost myself. and to, strive for that project. Or I'm really not feeling very well, I'm feeling very anxious at work. I had one of my mentees came to me and said, Kim, I had to quit my job because I've got anxiety, and I deal with this. And it really opens things up, and it opens to that human part of technology that we tend to forget. We think, oh, I'm going to get my career in technology and that's it. But a lot of people leave partway through their technology careers because they feel like they've reached that block. They can't move on anymore. So that's why, as a mentor, you're there to listen. You're always to listen, not to impose. A lot of people who try and do some mentorship, they always say, right, come to my mentorship sessions and this is the plan. This is your set of goals, and you just have to tick this box and then you'll be okay. But it's really not that. So when I first started mentoring, I would have this spreadsheet open with all the mission, vision, values, goals that I'll work with my mentees on. I'll have all the checklists in place, and I would go through and work through the checklist, and at the end, my mentee would go, okay, can I talk about this instead? And I went, oh no, I'm a bad mentor, what do I do next? And I realized that you just have to take a step back and sometimes just listen. So what are my top tips for yourselves to get started on mentoring then? So I want to cover a little bit of the aspects of mentoring that people don't tend to talk about. Mentoring takes a hell of a lot of time and energy, a hell of a lot. And people don't talk about it because, yeah, of course you want to encourage people into mentorship. But it takes a lot of time and energy, but I would like to say that the impact that you made on someone's life is just so much more. It just makes it worth it. So in your first session with your mentee, you can first listen to them, see what they want from the mentorship experience. You can think about either having a one-off mentorship call, or you can have a more recurring mentorship experience. So you can meet on a monthly basis or quarterly basis. And you're always adapting to your mentee's needs. So sometimes that includes recognizing that you might not be the person to help them. So you might need to direct them to some resources. So I've had to direct some of my mentees to the Samaritans or to the Mind charity, for example. And I'd like to touch on Plato's quote. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds, so that it may be better able to discover with accuracy the peculiar bent of the genius of each. So you wouldn't go and teach a toddler like, oh, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to walk now. You're gonna walk like this, and you're gonna follow me. That doesn't happen that way. So you have to sometimes with mentorship, you have to let your mentee sort of learn for themselves and fail. And then they'll come back to you and then ask questions. Okay, what did I not do right there? How can you guide me? And they'll come to you and ask questions naturally. So be encouraging and not imposing. So instead of saying, I've done this, I'm an entrepreneur, and this is how you can get to my path. If you learn all of these programming languages, you'll be able to get into tech. If you go to this boot camp, you'll be getting into tech. And we sometimes see a career as linear, and we tend to impose that onto our sessions in mentorship. But in actual fact, your career is a squiggly line. As earlier in this morning's talk we heard, we reach points in life where we have to change directions. So a mentor is there to help guide you to the next path that you're on your journey. You're there to listen. So you have to listen without bias, without opinion even. You need to make sure that you remain inclusive in your use of language as much as possible. Try to understand their culture, where they came from, what their ambitions are, what their goals are. And ask questions, leave some room for discovery. So instead of saying, hey, you got to learn Python and go to this boot camp to become a software engineer, maybe you can say, here's some nice resources. Maybe go and discover for yourself and come back to me once you've discovered, and I'll help you answer some questions along the way. And you have to be able to give and receive constructive feedback. So sometimes it is harder said than done, because we tend to be quite nice and we say, oh, yeah, you're kind of on the right track. No, you're not on the right track. You are definitely not on the right track. Here's the things that you can consider. So the most commonly asked themes that I get asked a lot from my mentees are things like navigating tech careers. Now that I'm a career switcher, how can I move into technology? Or I'm a junior engineer, how can I progress in technology? Or I'm an associate product manager, how do I get to understand more about technology and not feel like a fool in every meeting where all these terminologies get dotted around? I get asked about coding best practices a lot. I don't know how many people in the room are sort of switching careers or trying to get into technology, but best practices and testing seems to come up quite a lot. So if you are learning to code, maybe you can ask some questions about testing. How do you test your software product? How do you start to write unit tests? That would be my advice if you're starting off in technology. And finally, bridging business and technology. A lot of people think that having a career in technology is just about coding, but a lot of the best people that I've worked with in the technology industry have had previous careers or previous experiences from either college or university or the previous jobs that they take forward into their technology role, like business analysis or like understanding what the users want, project management of a team. Like, these are the skill sets that we need in technology, yet people feel like they have to tick a whole list of their job descriptions to get there. Skills coaching. So a few people ask about presentation skills. I don't know why they ask me about presentation skills, to be honest. But yeah, negotiating skills, pitching, writing a blog. All of these things are common themes that I see, especially with also confidence building and self-care as well, particularly self-care. I myself have had numerous breakdowns while changing into technology, and I think in technology people put a lot of pressures on others and themselves unintentionally. In fact, we watch on LinkedIn or on Twitter, we're like hashtag women in tech, hashtag getting into tech, and we can feel a bit lost in the sea where there's just so many people speaking. So it's very important to make time for yourself and what your mission is and what your vision and your values are. So when you're mentoring someone, it's important to work on something together, because it's not like a teacher and a student relationship here. Work on a mission, vision, value statement together. So I wrote my mission statement along with my mentee, and we evolved it as we went along. And over time, my mentee started mentoring me, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You can set goals together. So I stupidly the other day drank a lot of coffee from Cafe Youre and signed up to a half marathon in London, and I could barely run 5 kilometers. So I started my training program and set my goal along with my mentee, and just laughed on the call to say, look, I made it about like a fair distance down the road, and then I literally had to walk and breathe. So goal setting is very important to take someone on the journey with you. Pair programming. So I've actually sat down with some mentees and they're like, look, I don't need confidence building. I don't need goal setting. I just want someone to code with me. I'm like, yeah, sure, we can sit and do some test-driven development together. I know some of you love I can see someone there laughing because they love TDD so much. Yes, Laura, I can see you right there. And finally, I get asked, how do you market yourself authentically in tech? When I changed my career into technology, I felt like my online version of myself was becoming very distant from the person I was, and I just felt like I can't maintain this dual personality, so I needed to find a way to be myself. So I started to just post my weaknesses as well as my strengths online so people can read about it. So what has been my mentoring experience? What have I learned? What have the things that have gone totally wild? I was going to put a swear word on this slide, but I think it's probably not best to do that. Okay, we've all been there. Ghosting, rejection, yeah. So the only thing is, if you get ghosted or rejected, it's not a reflection on you. So I've sent, a message to some of my mentees and never really got back. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry on and impact other people. Also, don't forget. So I was at the Starbucks in Manchester Piccadilly, and all of a sudden I got an email from one of my mentees saying, "Hey Kim, are you on the call? I'm on the call for 10 minutes now." I'm like, hello, so sorry, I'll be with you in a second. And I felt so bad, and in that moment I thought, oh, should I quit? Should I just quit mentoring people straight away? But I carried on, I said sorry, and then, yeah, got it going. So tools that you can use to supercharge your mentoring skills. I really recommend using Calendly to book in your time. So it's not selfish to book your time first and then allow other people to book your time. Conserve energy to give energy. So you need to be able to make sure you've made time for yourself so you can make time for others. And it's not a reflection on you if you get ghosted. It's okay. Just continue, and then grow alongside your mentee and build the trust. So finally, I want to touch on beyond mentoring. The point of mentorship is that your mentees will become mentors of the future. So when they start to mentor you back, that's when you know that you've achieved something great. So I've had maybe 3 or 4 of my mentees starting to mentor me now. So yeah, that goes full circle. So yeah, I do need help. I need help. So if anyone wants to mentor me, just let me know. But yeah, that concludes my talk.